So I don't see how many people are on the, uh,
They are joining.
can you tell how many?
Yeah, we got 14. Yeah,
Oh, really?
they're
So
coming
where
in,
do you
the
see that?
attendees.
Where do I see that? I don't see it at all.
You might see it in the top participants. If you click the participants button,
I don't see it. That's
you
okay.
might not be able to because you might not be a host or a co-host.
Yeah.
So that's possible you're not able to see. So yeah, 16.
Okay. So I'm not a co-host, but I can share this. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
You're
yes.
sharing the slide.
Yes. Yep. He's allowing you, Akil is allowing you to share the slides. Yeah.
Rob, we can start it now.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our VaYU's first distinguished speaker event of 2026. We're so honored today to have our guest speaker, Dr. Nick Shroff, speaking today. Dr. Nick Shroff is a professor, research and teaching faculty here at VaYU, also the president of the American Prostate Cancer Foundation. And his topic today is chakrology, chakras demystified, neuroscience and behavioral correlates of chakra. So pretty exciting stuff. We're going to get a nice rare glimpse into how chakra systems through modern science, something really interesting happens. The gap between ancient wisdom and modern science starts to shrink. So pretty excited to hear that and dive deep into that today. But before I hand the mic over to Dr. Nick Shroff, a couple things. One thing we would love to get an idea of here at VaYU is where you're dialing in from. So we're going to pop up a really quick poll. It's one question. Just type where you're dialing in from, either the US, somewhere else in the world. We'd love to see where that is and where you guys are calling in from. So you just take a second. I think it just popped up. So if you don't mind, go ahead and type in there a short answer of where you're calling in from. See a couple of you already answering. 3, 4, 5. Thank you so much. 6. Real quick, where you're calling in from, just a quick short answer. And about a couple more seconds here. I think there's six of you that are still on. If you don't mind going in there to that poll and typing in where you're calling from, let me get an idea. I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'll take this opportunity to introduce myself. I'm Rob Johannes. I'm part of the recruitment and strategic partnership team here at VaYU, and I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia. I know we have some teammates in VaYU calling in from Washington, D.C., our president, people in Washington State. So we are all over the U.S., not only in the U.S., but also India and other parts of the world. So love to get an idea. Awesome. All right, I think that's good for now. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that. Trying to get an idea of the results here. Akil, I don't know if you have the results on that. We can share that.
This is for our self. We are not going
Oh,
to.
okay. Perfect. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for answering that. I'm sure we have. I saw the guest list. I know we have people in India. We have some people in Washington D.C., California, and then myself here in Atlanta. So thank you so much for answering that quick poll. Just a couple housekeeping things before, again, I hand over the mic to Dr. Nick Shroff. One thing, Q&A. So as we go through this, there are definitely going to be questions. We would love to open it up during the chat or during the topic discussion Dr. Nick Shroff's going to go over. However, we want to keep a good flow of the information coming. So what I'll ask you to do is write down that question as you have it and hold on to that, because at the end we are going to do a Q&A. And then when I do open up the Q&A, feel free to type that into the chat. And we'll be sure, and I'll read off the questions, and we'll give Dr. Nick Shroff an opportunity to answer that question for you. If we don't get to your question today, because we don't want to take too long, I'm sure this is a topic we can talk about all night. Definitely don't want to do that for everybody. I'll be sure to get those questions written down, and we'll go ahead and email you the answers to those questions. So I want to make sure that you do get those answers. So we'll do a Q&A. There's also going to be another quick 1 second poll at the end as well. And then I'll go ahead and bid you guys adieu for the night, and we'll be done after that. Also, before we dive in, we do have an announcement from Kusama. If you don't mind, I'll give you the floor here. There is an announcement that we need to go over.
Thank you, Rob, for the opportunity. Here's an announcement for all the VaYU students and alumni. VaYU is organizing a mini symposium on Saturday, which is on April 18th with Stanford on health, tech, and yoga. If anyone is interested in participating on the program committee level to organize a program, please contact me. This needs between 3 to 5 hours per week for the next 6 weeks. Please have the identified candidates call me or text me if you are interested, and I'll send out an official invite for all of you. And my email ID will be following you in the chat. Thank you, Rob, for the opportunity. See you all.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kusama. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's very exciting event coming up April 18th. I know I'm going to be there with Stanford Medical Integrated Medicine. So very, very big deal. We're very excited about that. So thank you, Kusama, for that announcement. All right. Well, with no further ado, I know I'm excited. I know plenty of other people are excited as well. Dr. Nick Shroff, if you're ready, I'll hand the mic over to you, and you can take it from here.
Yeah, thank you, Rob, and thank you for
Absolutely.
the introduction. So I'm going to talk to you about the neuroscience basis of chakras. There is considerable interest in chakra system and its holistic approach to the body, breath, and mind to optimize health. So I'm talking to you a little bit more about the balance. See, balance is the key of life. So there is balance for healthy living. It's a constant process. There is a pH balance, and then there is acid alkaline balance and temperature balance. Everything has to be in balance. You see this little picture here, it talks about balance. The yin and yang is also about balance. So in this part of the neuroscience of chakras, I'm going to focus a little bit more about what happens when everything is in balance and what happens when it's in imbalance. Okay, so this is how you integrate Eastern insight with modern medical care. So with that, I want to talk to you a little bit more about what are chakras. So chakras are bioenergetic fields. These are autonomic neural networks. And they also link with the endocrine glands. So we're going to talk about the neural networks, the autonomic nervous system with the vagus nerve and things like that, and also how these bioenergetic fields merge with the endocrine glands. So chakra basically means wheel, right? So it's a swerving wheel of energy. And this modern analog, this is the pranic flow for optimal physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. We're also going to talk about emotions, especially when we talk about the sacral chakra, the Swadhisthana chakra. We're going to talk about emotions, how they are expressed in the chakras, and some of them can manifest as physical symptoms. And this is what is called somatization. So there is a lot of mind-body integration. So mind and body are not two separate things. It's actually only one. And we'll talk about that and also about vagal regulation with the polyvagal theory, and how to bring about awareness in the subtle energy and to get peace and harmony. So these are the neuro correlates of the chakra system. And this is how we bring ancient yogic insights into modern understanding of energy, vibration, neurophysiology, and all that. So here I'm sitting here doing the yoga thing, and there is a coiled serpent here, and with all the 7 major chakras, you know. So that's what we're going to talk about. These are intersecting nerve pathways. And we'll talk about nadis and plexus and efferent nerves and all that as we go along. Okay. Now, so here are the 7 chakras. And if you look at modern medicine, if you look at this is the caduceus, the medical emblem. See, they also have this coiled snake. So when we talk about this thing on the yoga on the left side, there is a coiled snake, right, at the base of the spine. And this energy is the vital force, the prana, right? The Chinese call this chi and Japanese call it ki and all that kind of stuff. But basically, we are talking about prana, which is the vital life force. And when this is awakened, there are spiritual experiences and personal transformation. So this is what we want to do. Kundalini Jagrut Karna hai, right? So we talk about Kundalini Jagrut Karna. This is dormant actually in the Muladhara chakra and down in the base of the spine. These coiled snakes is dormant and they are kind of close together, and then they come out in the Swadhisthana chakra. And we'll talk a little bit more about how these chakras and do this. Okay, so this is how the energy is brought up. So when we do pranayam, the breath work techniques help us to channelize this energy through the body. So when we awaken the Kundalini, then spontaneously you can get this thing for spiritual practice. And this can lead to heightened awareness. That's what we want to do. And a deeper connection with oneself and with the universe. That is what we are trying to do. This also will talk about how emotional releases of mood swings and euphoria and feelings of problematic things, that we'll talk about emotional things. So when people have these things, there might be challenges, and we need to know how to see if it is blocked, then we need to unblock it. So that's what we'll come to that in the next few slides. Okay. So there are, as we mentioned, there are 7 major chakras. So very quickly, Muladhara chakra is I am, right? Then the Swadhisthana chakra is I feel. Then solar plexus is the Manipura chakra, which I do. Then heart chakra is I love. See, there's only one word, love. Then throat chakra, I talk. Then the third eye chakra, which Ajna chakra is I see. And then crown chakra is I understand. Okay. So this is how those coiled serpents, you can get the Kundalini up the Swadhisthana chakra. So this synchronizes the energy and neurotransmitters flow through them. So one easy way to remember this is that if the chakra is blocked, then energy cannot circulate properly. And there are physical issues, emotional issues, and spiritual issues. So this is similar to a bathtub drain. If this is clogged with junk and hair clogs, and the water backs up and stagnates, and this leads to bacterial growth and mold, right? So the bathtub drain is one analogy that if your chakras are blocked, the energy, the bioenergetic field, the energy cannot circulate properly. Now, if there is imbalance in one area, it can cause problems in another area. So that's like a car engine. If there is a problem in one part of the car engine, then it can cause problems in the other parts. Some parts have to work harder or the car may not run. So that's the reason why we need to know about blockage of the chakras and about imbalance and what we can do to rectify these things. With conscious awareness, we can balance the chakras, restore harmony. Okay? So because remember that the mind, the body, and the soul is all interconnected. So detecting imbalance is challenging, but with the chakras, anatomical, psychological, and all these things, the body benefits if we can cultivate awareness and remember this. Okay? So let's start with the first chakra, the Muladhara chakra. Okay, this is the Muladhara chakra or the root chakra. Now, the location is at the base of the spine, and the basic instinct is grounding. So there's survival, vitality, stability, security, safety. All of these things are the basic issue of the Muladhara chakra. And the color is red. So this is the color of the rainbow. If you can go up the rainbow thing, we'll go up as we go along, because this depends upon the frequency, the red color. And then every chakra has a mantra. Here the mantra is LUM. And when we come in the next slide, I'll talk to you a little bit about what we do during the chakra meditation, where we use this word LUM, and we said this is called the Bija mantra. Now, if this chakra is balanced, then you feel grounded, there is security, humility, stability, optimal weight, healthy eating, proper elimination. All these things are there. So this is extremely important to balance your chakras. And of course, on the other hand, on the flip side, if it is unbalanced, then there is insecurity, fear, anxiety, instability, low self-esteem, restlessness, constipation. All these problems are occur. So just think about this. The Muladhara chakra governs the lower part of your body. Elimination also, bowel, bladder, all of that thing. In real speaking, when we talk about the spine in medical thing, see, remember, nadis are not something that you can anatomically dissect. We are talking about correlation, right? But the cauda equina and the conus medullaris, as it comes down the last part, the tail of the, so cauda equina means tail of the horse. So this is the bundle of spinal nerves, from the second through the fifth lumbar pairs, and the sacral nerves and the coccygeal nerve. All that thing comes as a cord. In fact, this is called the lower brain, the lower brain, okay? Okay. So we are talking about this chakra in this simple way about the conus medullaris, which is the bulbous tapering of the spinal cord, okay? And the next thing is that, see, the basic reason why I like the chakra thing so much, and I subscribe to this thought about chakras, although you cannot dissect the nadis and all that, but there is good correlation now. And there is a lot of medical evidence that there is something about chakras. And if we can release the stagnant energy, then it is very important. So when we do the chakra meditation, here I'm sitting here doing in the full lotus position, and you start imagining a beam of light entering the first chakra at the root of the spine, right down there, right down at the bottom here, and it goes up through the central channel, which is called the Sushumna Nadi, right up to the crown of the head. So gradually it has to go up. That's how you Kundalini Jagrut karte, right? So mentally you have to prepare how the red light in the lumbar area envelopes the first chakra and rises up the spinal cord. So when I do my meditation, especially when I do my chakra meditation, I think of grounding, survival, stability, security, safety. And with attention, you can breathe into the first chakra. So you need to experience this. I can talk about all this till doomsday, but what you need to do is to experience this. So imagine that as you inhale and exhale, the air is turning red. And while we recite the Bija mantra, which is LUM, there are numerous different types of chakra meditation, but I'm just talking to you about the type that I use. I just sit tall, comfortable position, spine is aligned, or more often I just lie down, and then do this. So this is extremely important because chakra is healing meditation, and it helps us to focus our energy and correct the imbalances. That's the reason. Now, the neurological correlates, the whole topic is neurological correlates. So this is the lumbar plexus. See, this is all the way down, and this is come to the conus medullaris and the cauda equina. So this is what it is. See, this is the union of the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Remember, sympathetic is fight and flight. And then there is a parasympathetic thing. And all the way it comes down to the tail of the horse, which is L2, lumbar 2 to 5, and then sacral and coccygeal nerve. So when people talk about the lumbosacral plexus, this is what it is. So this is an anatomical thing, but we need to talk more about the nadis and the Sushumna nadi and all that, the Ida, Pingala and all that. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to the next chakra, which is the Swadhisthana chakras. The Swadhisthana chakra is the sacral chakra. Now, this is between the genitals and the navel, so just below the navel. And the basic issue is creativity, sexuality, reproduction, pleasure, relationship, emotions, all of that. Okay? And then the mantra here, the beach mantra is VAM. And in the next slide, when we talk about the meditation, we will talk a little bit more about that VAM. But if you feel balanced, the key here is look, creativity, joy, sexuality, you're passionate, healthy sex life, prosperity, all these things will come if it is balanced. On the flip side, if it is unbalanced, person is shy, guilty, responsible, there is infertility, emotional instability, all these kind of problems, and eating disorders. So remember that this Swadhisthana chakra, it governs the sexual organs, the ovaries, the testicles, the bladder, bowel, all that stuff, and that's the reason why this is such an important chakra, and we need to do this so that you don't get stuck in the Swadhisthana chakra. You got to move up. You got to get your Kundalini awareness way up. Okay? All right. So this is where I talked to you about. So this is mentally, we got to move the energy from the second chakra, which is you have to focus on the navel. And then the air, which is orange, is you're inhaling and exhaling. So the main thing here is that you have to breathe your attention to the floor of the pelvis. So because it's inflating and deflating type of thing, So when you breathe in, you're breathing in through the nose, and it's an abdominal breath, and the abdomen inflates like a balloon, and then it deflates when you breathe out. So this is the diaphragmatic breathing. And you think, while you're doing this, you think of creativity, sexuality, romantic relationships, pleasure, all these things. And the bija mantra for this is you got to recite VAM. Now, you can experience this. I mean, it's not that big a deal. If you really have this awareness and you practice this for several weeks or several months, you will be able to do this. This is the pacemaker. This acts like a pacemaker to this whole thing. And the chakra governs sexual organs, testicles, bladder, lower colon, and all of these things. Okay? So this is the Swadhisthana chakra. And I told you the neurological correlates is the sacral chakra is the Swadhisthana chakra. So it governs when the sacral chakra is open, it allows free flow of expressions of emotions. This is the most important thing. When Sigmund Freud talked about psychosocial stages of anal and genital development, he was talking about the Swadhisthana chakra, where there is imbalance in the lower brain, the sacral plexus. So he was talking about that, so that's why this is so important to kind of fully understand this. And one more slide I'm going to show you of the nerves, because this is the pelvic floor muscles. So remember we talked about bladder and bowel. So if the tone is not good or the function of the pelvic floor is not good, there are exercises called Kegel exercises and reverse Kegel exercises. And that's what is important. So this can be hypotonic, which is low tone. And there are specific exercises to do that, like toe taps, heel slides, things like that. And if it is hyperactive, then we need to lengthen it and relax it. And diaphragmatic breathing, there are some yoga poses like the happy baby pose and all that. This is all the things that help you. So this is the Swadhisthana chakra part. Okay, this is the neurological correlates. Okay, now we move on. We got to move on. We're going up the navel, between the navel and the solar plexus. So the basic issue here is power, self-esteem, strength, confidence, and it helps with digestion and immune function. All of these things are the the Manipura chakra, which is extremely important because this is the solar plexus. This is important, Manipura chakra. And the color is orange. The color is from orange, it has become yellow. And the Bij mantra is Ram. So if this is balanced, a person feels that he's in control. He's got energy, strength, confidence. And also he has got gut instinct, good gut instinct, assertive. Now I'll talk to you a little bit in the next couple of slides about the gut instinct. But if it is unbalanced, people have lack of energy, weakness, allergies, low self-esteem, worthlessness, and they have liver problems. Now, digestion problems, they can have diabetes mellitus, gastroesophageal reflux disease, the GER, this is called acid reflux, and irritable bowel syndrome. So if it is unbalanced, it's a big deal. This is a very important chakra, But remember that all the three lower chakras are physical, okay? So then when we come up to the heart chakra, then we are going up to towards the spirituality part, But this is the most important thing these are physical things, So this chakra is related to the celiac plexus, and I'll show you a slide about that. But before that, remember when we talk about the chakra, the most important thing is how do you balance the chakra? How do you influence the gut-brain connection? How do you think of striving for perfection, confidence, desire, gut instinct, personal power, self-esteem? How do you get all that? You get that by this thing. This is an older picture of me, doing this thing here about in the Manipura chakra. And you see the color yellow is the third chakra, just above the navel, And we need to, when you think of the yellow color, you need to allow the intensity to grow until vibration is felt. And really speaking, it's not something esoteric that, you're thinking about vibration. But when you do this chakra meditation and you breathe in the color yellow, you feel the clarity. You can recite, and when you're reciting the Bij mantra, Ram, you allow that intensity to grow until vibration is felt throughout your abdomen and then throughout your body. So in Vedic literature, Shiva is represented as Rudra. So this is associated with energy transformation. Okay, so this is very important because it governs digestion and converting food into energy. Okay, so you feel self-confident, motivated, sense of contentment, all of that kind of stuff is there. Okay, so this is very important as we go along with the psychological thing. Now we talked about neurology. The whole basis of this is what is the neurology basis of this? Although nadis are not anatomical, there is neurological basis. So the solar plexus, the solar chakra, the Manipura chakra, it influences the gut-brain back. So gut-brain is more than 150 million neurons. Can you imagine that? How many neurons it has? 168 million neurons. It controls digestion, insulin secretion, metabolism, immune function, the whole gamut. And digestion requires energy. This is akin to cooking food into suitable components like carbohydrates, glucose, fructose, fats, fatty acids, proteins. This can break it down. But remember one thing, that if a person drinks cold water, like very cold water, like from the fridge, okay, during meals, it contracts the blood vessels. So that slows down the digestive process. And that's why our Rishi Munis always talked about drinking warm water or hot water, especially during meals. Because if a person drank cold water, it can cause constriction of the blood vessels, So now this is important because otherwise, if you drink cold water, it can cause imbalance in the stomach, cramps, discomfort, bloating, and all that. So here we're talking more about the celiac plexus, which includes the hepatic plexus, the liver, and the splenic plexus, the spleen, and the suprarenal. Suprarenal is and adrenal glands, just above the kidneys, and the mesenteric plexus. So this celiac plexus covers everything, So this is the importance of the celiac plexus. And the most important thing about this thing is that gut-brain connection. Gut-brain connection is healthy balance of gut bacteria. And if there are good balance of gut bacteria, it can resist disease and optimize brain function. So remember one thing, the foundation of overall health lies in the gut. Gut, right? So there are more than 100 trillion microorganisms that live within us. 100 trillion. So we have more bacteria than human cells. Can you imagine that staggering number? 100 trillion. Okay, so most microorganisms support the immune system of producing vitamins, amino acids, and all that. Okay, but some of them are common cells. That means they just live with you. Common cells have no adverse effect on us, but some are harmful. So that's the reason why these harmful bacteria can damage our immune system. We got to move on. So we'll go to the heart chakra, which is in the center of the chest. It governs the heart, lungs, thymus, blood circulation, all that. And the basic issue is love and acceptance. Compassion. So it is love, compassion, gratitude, and good relationships. So this is the importance. Now, if this chakra is balanced, you feel loving, empathetic, open-heartedness, serenity, emotionally balanced, hope, forgiveness, tolerance, all that stuff. So this is the Anahat chakra, the heart chakra. But if it is unbalanced, then people feel loneliness, demanding, critical, all that kind of stuff. We'll come to that again. Okay? Now, the most important thing is that this is between the physical part and your spiritual thing, right? So this is very important to do the correct during meditation. You got to imagine a beam of light entering the fourth heart chakra. And you got to imagine the green light enveloping the heart and rising up the spinal cord. You got to imagine this. Imagination is such a great thing. And, gradually, when you're doing this, you can experience this. You can experience love, compassion, connection, gratitude, balance, hope, kindness, forgiveness, affection, all that when you breathe your attention into the fourth chakra. And as you imagine that, you can inhale and exhale, and the air turns green, and the bija mantra is yum. Okay? So then gradually you can visualize that this chakra is releasing the stagnant energy and it clears down. Okay? So this is the extremely important part of this. And the Muladhara chakra, also we talked about Muladhara, Swadhisthana, we went up to the Manipura chakra, and now we have come up to the heart chakra. Okay? All right. Now, what is the big deal about this Anahat chakra? Well, the vagus nerve is the 10th cranial nerve. Okay, it comes right from the brainstem, goes all the way down. Okay, and it's called vagus because it's called vagabond. In Latin, vagus means vagabond. Vagabond means it goes all over the place. So it goes from the brainstem, it goes to the heart, it goes to the lungs, it pierces the diaphragm, then it goes to the liver and the stomach and the spleen and the kidney and all the bowel and everything, and small intestine, large intestine, everywhere, and it releases acetylcholine. So this is 80% of parasympathetic nervous system is the vagus nerve. Remember that the autonomic nervous system, which is like an automatic system, right? It governs the heart, breathing. See, you don't tell your body, oh, I got to breathe, I got to breathe, I got to breathe. It does it automatically. You don't have to tell it to do digestion. It digests automatically when you're sleeping, right? So everything it can do properly because it can decrease the heart rate, increase the heart rate whenever it needs to, gastrointestinal peristalsis, sweating, all of that by releasing acetylcholine. Okay, and the whole function when we talk about yoga, the whole purpose of yoga is downregulate your sympathetic activity, which is the fight and flight, and upregulate your parasympathetic activity, which is 80% of parasympathetic activity is the vagus nerve. So that is the importance of the vagus nerve. It relaxes the blood vessels, reduces the blood pressure, reduces anxiety, reduces stress, reduces fear. And that's why it is activated by slow diaphragmatic breathing, yoga, meditation, humming, cold showers. Remember, cold showers. A cold shower a day keeps the doctor away. That's how you do it. The vagus nerve and the inflammatory reflex links your immunity and the metabolism. Okay, so this is a little bit about the vagus nerve. Now we move on to the throat chakra, Vishuddha chakra. And the basic issue is communication, self-expression, and things like that. If it is balanced, you feel peaceful, truthful. There's good communication, good self-expression, and feel peaceful. On the flip side, if it's unbalanced, there is dishonesty, you're shy, weak, fear of speaking, unable to listen, lying, arrogance, all these kind of things. Okay? So this is what it is, the throat chakra, Vishuddha chakra. Now, as I said, the most important part is what I want you to take home is the chakra meditation part. So here also, you got to imagine that the light is entering the sixth chakra. Okay? And this blue light, from the lumbar area all the way, it rises up the spinal cord. And you have to think while you're doing this, your ability to communicate and speak your inner truth. Okay? Then the air will turn blue and you say the bija mantra, Lam. So every chakra has a color and a bija mantra and all kinds of these little things about this, but it is the frequency of these things that is important. Okay? And it's related to the frequency of light. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Now, so the throat chakra is connected with the cervical plexus. The cervical plexus innervates the muscles of the skin here, all this thing here of the neck, right? And the vagus nerve. We talked about the vagus nerve just a minute ago, about how it influences the voice, the heart rate, and parasympathetic response. Okay? So remember, the location is affected with the thyroid and the parathyroid. So this chakra will govern the thyroid gland is the thyroxine hormone, and the parathyroid gland is the parathormone hormone. And the physical symptoms of blockage is chronic sore throat, laryngitis, temporomandibular disorders, and thyroid issues. All these things happen here. So this is the importance of the lung. So every chakra, I've talked to you about how to do the meditation and also how the neurological background, about that. Okay. So this is the neurological basis of this. Now, the next chakra, you're going up. This is between the eyebrows. This is like your third eye. It is between the eyebrows, like a third eye. Okay, Ajna chakra. Now, Ajna chakra is basic thing is intuition, inner wisdom, inspiration, insight, imagination, perception, vision. All these things are the basic issue. This is an extremely important chakra as you go up. I mean, you got to ascend, that when your Kundalini Jagrat hota hai na, so you go up the thing, and the color is indigo. Okay? If this is balanced, you feel intuitive, perceptive, you have good dreams, spiritual, mental health, good vision, all these things are there. It's extremely important to do this properly, because otherwise, if it's unbalanced, there is lack of intuition, lack of imagination, manipulative, panic, fear, nightmares, eye problems, migraine attacks, all kinds of things, So this is the Ajna chakra. This is extremely important. And when we do the meditation on the Ajna chakra, we think of a lotus with two petals. This represents balance between the rational and the intuitive aspect of the mind. The element is light, mind, manas tattva. Manas tattva. And the gemstone is lapis lazuli. So each chakra has its own element. just like its own color, and then own frequency, and it has its own element also, and its own gemstone. Here the gemstone is lapis lazuli because of its indigo hue, the indigo color. See, I've got this thing Om, that's the bija mantra for that. Okay, the bija mantra is Om. This is a gentle, imagination thing. And this is the internal eye, the third eye. And it's the energy center that helps us focus on good and manage adverse circumstances. Okay? It's like a lotus with two petals. Remember that. Okay? And the next one is you could improve your life. You walk through the path of well-being, energy. So awaken the Ajna chakra, the most important chakra, according to most people who do this meditation, chakra meditation, and it guides intuition, creative imagination, and mental lucidity. And once you do this, then you go to the Sahasrara chakra, the crown chakra. It's located on top of the head. That's why it's called the crown chakra. And this is the basic issue, is knowing, enlightenment, and connection to the spirit and the universe. So this is where your individual self merges with the universal self. This is that Vasudeva Kutumbam. Okay? So this is spiritual, blessed, unity, wisdom, open-mindedness, all the thing. And you're in the strong nervous system, you're living in the now. Okay? So this is extremely important there. And then, so once you've talked about these chakras, the important thing is the chakras also connected to the autonomic nervous system. We talked about the vagus nerve in a little bit. And this is like a pacemaker, and the ganglia interconnect. So I want to talk to you just a minute for that. So the vagus nerve is there is a sympathetic system, which is fight and flight. Okay. But more important is the vagus nerve, the dorsal vagus nerve and ventral vagus nerve. This is called the vagal theory of Stephen Porges. And this vagal theory, dorsal vagus, more important, the ventral vagus, the communication, connection, okay, and all that. And then, so this is the parasympathetic. Let's look at the thing on the left side, because that is the whole purpose of the vagus nerve, is to increase your parasympathetic system. And the next slide shows this parasympathetic system where we release the acetylcholine. See, this is the wandering nerve, the 10th cranial nerve, this one here, right there, where my arrow is. Right? You can see my arrow. Okay. So this slows down the heart rate. When you're sleeping, so when I sleep in this thing, I sleep with my Apple Watch, and I can see that my heart rate is gradually coming down. It's come down to like about 8 a minute in the night. But ideally, the Rishi Munis, Dalai Lama and all these people, they can get it down to 6. So far I've come down to 8, So I used to be around 12. So every time, last 4 years I've been doing this, and every year I've been doing a little bit better. So that's good. So it stimulates peristalsis, secretion, and all that. And main thing is the parasympathetic system, it relaxes. It restores the body to calm, composed state. So this is called the rest and digest system. Rest, digest helps repair, regeneration, rejuvenation, all that, decreases anxiety, stress, and fear. If nothing else, bring down heart rate down, blood pressure down, and upregulate your parasympathetic activity, always. The next thing is that all the chakras are involved in the hormones. So for example, these are all the hormones of this thing. And in the next slide, I can show you that the hypothalamus is the brain within the brain. This is the most important thing. And that from the hypothalamus comes the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is the master gland. Okay. Now, some of the old yoga books and all that talked about the pineal gland, because when they talked about the third eye chakra, they talk about pineal gland. But pineal gland is not a big deal. It's just secret melatonin, which is important for the sleep-wake cycle. Okay, so pineal gland is not that big a deal, but pituitary gland is the most important thing. Modern textbooks, everything, modern medicine talks about pituitary gland. The thymus, that is just for the immune function. Liver, adrenal, ovary, placenta, all these things. Even the kidney has hormones. Calcitonin, renin, erythropoietin. Erythropoietin is very important. So these are all the hormones Of the pancreas, of course, insulin, glucagon, somatostatin. Yeah. So the neuroendocrine system is called the HPA, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. So if nothing else, you got to remember this HPA axis, hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. So hormones are chemical messengers. They are produced by the endocrine glands, and they travel through the bloodstream to regulate bodily function, growth, metabolism, mood, sexual function, reproduction. All these things it regulates. Metabolism. That's the reason we talk so much about insulin. Okay? And it decreases the stress response if you do it done properly. They regulate physiological functions, digestion and all that. All right? Okay. So this is the hormones, functions, this is the root chakra is adrenal cortex, then the sacral chakra, then solar plexus, heart. These are all the things that we talked about a little bit. So the next slide is one of the important thing is we got to create a peaceful inner balance. So careful attention, the chakra meditation, all that will bring the motivation, effort, and skill. And we need to cultivate beautiful flowers, positive thoughts, and uproot the negative thoughts. Okay? So this is the garden thing. Okay, I think I will wrap up because if there are any questions, I'll take it up because the next two slides are just what we already talked about. This is just a summary of the whole thing. And the summary is that this is like a seesaw. You don't want to be in the sympathetic. Some animal is chasing you, you need to be alert. Run for your life. But once the animal is gone, chill out. You got to rest and do this part here. Okay? All right? This will reduce your respiratory rate, heart rate, and bring down your blood pressure. This is the guy who's sleeping. Relax. Okay? This is the cardiac coherence and self-regulation. Okay. I can answer any questions you have. Talk to me.
Well, first off, Dr. Shroff, thank you so much. Wow, it's amazing how much information and detail you can get in this amount of time. So thank you so much. Got a ton of good stuff. We do have some questions in the Q&A chat box, so I'll read those out. One thing, you guys go ahead and go in the Q&A, type your question. I'm going to read every question as private, if you or as anonymous, in case there are some questions that are a little more detailed, a little more personal, which is totally fine. So I will read them as private. If you don't care if I say your name or not, feel free to write it in the question. But I'll read each question as private, so you should know who the question is and who it's for by the question I read off. So yes, I'll read off the first one. The first question is there any specific mantra that needs to follow if I'm suffering from bipolar, going through manic and depression episodes?
Yeah, I think the whole chakra meditation is not like, one chakra type of thing, that you need to do. Of course, Ajna chakra, that is the most important thing. We talked a little bit about the Ajna chakra a few minutes ago, and that improves your life, well-being through energy of the chakras, creative imagination, because this chakra is important about the Ajna chakra, yes, because it refers to the subconscious brain processing. But it's really, you need to do the entire thing, you got to start with the Muladhara chakra and go up, because any chakra that is blocked or this thing, then you cannot have the full effect of that. Because I think that you need to do all of it. Okay.
Yes, that makes sense. Hopefully that helps. And next question, what practice can help bring heart rate down as well as blood pressure?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because see, the parasympathetic system is most important to bring the heart rate down, the respiratory rate down, and also the blood pressure down, the parasympathetic system. And that is the vagus nerve. 80% of the parasympathetic nervous system is the vagus nerve. And remember, we talked about the vagus nerve as the vagabond, right? It comes right down from the brainstem. It's the 10th cranial nerve. It starts from the brainstem. There's a hole in the brain skull. It comes down the thing, and it goes down to the heart. So it can bring down the heart rate, and it can very easily do this. There are some yogis whose heart rate they can run or walk around the block, increase their heart rate to above 110, and then they can go into this. It is under voluntary control also, so they can bring down the heart rate to to 60 beats per minute. They can almost half the heart rate within 5 minutes. Baba Ramdev has done that also. And then in 1950s, Swami Rama had come to Topeka, Kansas, and they put all these electrodes on his heart, lungs, and all that. And he could bring down the heart rate from 120, he could bring down to half his heart rate at 60 within 5 minutes. So this is the importance of parasympathetic nervous system. And they could control that. See, ordinarily, this is called the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is sympathetic and parasympathetic. Now, what happens is the parasympathetic nervous system is your heart beats automatically. If you run, it increases the rate, And if you're relaxed and you do meditation like this, it brings it down. Sure, that is autonomic. You're not telling the heart rate to come down. But it is under voluntary control also. It's involuntary, but it's under voluntary control. Okay, so it's automatic, but it's still under voluntary control. And that is what they tapped into this thing. That is how they did this thing. They can bring down the heart rate. They can bring down the respiratory rate also. When people do the mantra or hymn, singing some Hail Mary, full of grace, that song, or whatever mantras they do, the hymns they do, they can bring down the respiratory rate also down to around 6 per minute, which is a great thing, respiratory rate. And they can bring down their blood pressure also. So this way, you can bring it down quite well, yes. And there are people who do this chakra meditation and all that, do this very well, Yeah. I've been doing meditation for several years now, and my blood pressure is completely normal. I've never had blood pressure problems, so far. Never. I don't take any blood pressure medicine, nothing. It's been perfectly well. But partly, I think it's because of my pranayama and especially my meditation. And what I primarily do is the chakra meditation now. Okay.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. And then I digress a little. There are some great shout outs in here. I want to give credit to who's given shout outs. So there is an option to do an anonymous question. So please use that. I will read off who is asking the question because there's some great thank yous in here. So I want to give them credit for that. So Shivani says, wonderful session. Do we need a guide to do chakra meditation, or we can do it by ourselves?
Yeah. Yes, I'm glad you asked the question. I think you need somebody to teach you. I was blessed because I did Reiki level 1 and 2, and my Reiki master had taught this chakra meditation to me. But I was blessed with that. But the thing is that you need to have somebody to guide you properly, because you can to balance the chakras is one thing, but if it is blocked, to cleanse the chakra is also another thing. It's a little bit complicated, but the main thing is consistency and progression, that you do it automatically, and then gradually when you're reading things and all that, it'll help, Yeah, I think if you have a master, it is good, but you can, these kind of classes and all that, you can kind of do it. And I've helped people also to do unbalance their chakras to some extent, but I need to be very extremely careful, because there's a lot more things than just talking about it. They need to experience it, Yeah.
Perfect. And then Alan Wise did a great shout out of, hey, the yogis formulated this over 2,000 years ago. So this is something that's been around a while. So it's stuff that works. So yes. And then moving on. Apurva asked, thank you so much, Dr. Shroff. Do we focus on single chakra as desired, or do we need to focus on each chakra in order from Muladhara up? How many times do we chant each mantra, Biha mantra?
Yeah, good. That's an interesting question. How many times? I mean, it just depends. When I first started it, I spent so much time in the Muladhara chakra, the first 3 chakras, the Muladhara chakra, the Swadhisthana chakra, and Manipura chakra, that, now it just comes, I just move on, somehow I can get to that frequency and move on. Yeah, it's kind of, with experience and with time, you will be able to do it faster. But still, this chakra takes about 20-25 minutes to do the entire thing, to go from your kundalini to go up to from the Muladhara chakra to the crown chakra, to do it properly. Yes.
Don't want to rush it. Yeah. And then Prabha asks again, do we pair the chakra meditation with pranayama? What is the process or order of the chakra meditation?
So I like to unwind before I do my meditation in general. So I do pranayama also. First of all, I only breathe in through the nose. They say, shut your mouth and breathe. That's your number one thing, okay? So you got to use your nose, because the nose, also modern medicine is telling us that when you breathe through the nose, in the nose there is paranasal sinus, and you increase your nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is called the mighty molecule. So in the atmosphere, nitric oxide is toxic. So in 1980s, when they discovered about nitric oxide, the person who wanted to talk about nitric oxide, the first person who talked about it, they rejected his paper. They said, how can a gas that is so toxic in the environment have health benefits that you're talking about? Then they rejected it. But then he did some more work, and a lot of other people did some work on nitric oxide. And within a year, he was the keynote speaker. They invited him for the scientific foundation meeting as the keynote speaker, because they felt that this is such a mighty molecule. And around 1998, 3 people got a Nobel Prize for working on the nitric oxide, because there's effects on the heart, the blood pressure, lungs, and also the nitric oxide decreases your heart rate and decreases your blood pressure, and decreases your respiratory rate, increases your immune function, and also improves your cognitive abilities. So it is extremely important to breathe in through the nose, and it has to be an abdominal breath. So it is not a chest breath. So when people tell you, take a deep breath, and they go like that, that is wrong, okay? So what you need to do nowadays, good yoga schools, when they talk about deep, it's the deep end of the swimming pool. It's your abdominal breath. That is deep down. It's not your chest, okay? Not your neck muscles, cervical muscles and all that, nothing. So it is your abdomen. So you breathe in through the nose, and it's an abdominal breath. And the abdomen has to distend like a balloon. And then when you breathe out, it has to deflate, I think. So you can breathe out through the mouth. That is okay. But you need to breathe in 100% through the nose, whatever you do. Even when I jog, I do this 5K at least 3 times a week. And I go around my block, I jog, and I breathe 100% through my nose. If I increase my pace, and if I'm tired, I slow down, but I breathe 100% through the nose. That's it. That is the most important thing. And that is because of the nitric oxide. And the nitric oxide can do all these wonders. It is called the mighty molecule. It can improve almost every function in your body, every organ in your body. And the nitric oxide is also carried through your bloodstream. There are 100,000 miles of blood vessel in your body. 100,000 miles of capillaries and veins and arteries and all that. Can you imagine? And all the lining of that is called the endothelium. And the nitric oxide is also produced there and through your nose for your thing. But if you breathe in through your mouth, there is 0 nitric oxide.
Yes. Sorry if I was breathing while you were talking on my mic, because I was practicing that breathing. So talking about it makes me want to do it. Okay, and then I got another anonymous attendee, a pretty straightforward question. Is there a guided recording of complete meditation process out there? So being able to find it somewhere online.
Well, there are some, Sri Ravi Shankar has given some this thing about chakra meditation, and there are a lot of other people also. Jason Stevenson has given some, and there are a lot of people who have talked about mantra meditation. But I think you need to learn from somebody, and you got to practice it properly. It's just not. I mean, people can know about the chakras, but they need to get into that meditation aspect of it, because then only you can get the full benefit of these things, So when you go into the thing here, when you go into this blue light or some, this is how the green light, this, how you have to inhale and exhale also. So you got to unwind whatever you're doing, get into the pranayam, this thing, breathe in through your nose, do your box breathing or do some simple breathing exercises, and then get into this. Yeah. That's how you release the stagnant energy. You have to clear up that, that's the important thing.
Yeah. Very good. Shivani asked, first off, said, wonderful session. Do we need, so we kind of answered this earlier, but do we need a guide or a guru to perform chakra meditations, or we can do it ourselves? And I think a big part of this question is they're wondering, is it safe to do by ourselves?
I think, well, people have talked about it, that it's not safe to do it by yourself, but I've seen people do after a couple of classes like this, where we teach the chakra meditation, and then they ask some questions and they do it. But it is nice to get a guru to do it. That is the best. I mean, that under ideal circumstances, you should have a guru who is teaching you. I was blessed because I did Reiki. My Reiki master taught me this very well, and he had come to my home, and a lot of the different things happened, and I did this with him, and I thought that this was very helpful. But there are a lot of people who have done through the YouTube and this thing, and some of them have felt that they have experienced it. It's just hard to tell. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But you need to do it because you got to get, some people, they do this thing like Kriya Yoga, they do this type of thing and they get stuck one place. They either get stuck at the throat chakra or they get stuck at the Ajna chakra or something. Gradually, you need to ascend all the way up to the crown chakra. That's when your individual self merges with the universal self, universe. And that's that Vasudeva Kutumbakam. Yeah.
Perfect. And then moving on, we got seven more questions. We're a couple minutes past the slotted time, but we'll go ahead and try to get through these 7 next questions. Nazari asks, thank you. Sorry, it's super small here. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. You speak exactly precise information of your medical background, combining yoga. The question is, what's the frequency and duration of doing this meditation, and how long it takes to see results? Also, does it have to be in the order? I think you kind of touched on that earlier.
Yeah, I do it in the order because it just gives me this thing. But I don't spend that much time on each chakra. It just depends, Some days I can zoom through the Muladhara chakra, Swadhisthana, and Manipura chakra very quickly. And then for me, I can feel that it's not yet completely opened up. And then I can spend more time, That's just me. It's not like you have to spend only 3 minutes over each chakra or 4 minutes. No, it's not like that. You just have to get the feel of it, and it will come. I mean, it's not like some esoteric thing that I'm talking about, but yeah, and I go through the thing. I start with the root chakra and gradually go up, because I always thought that the snake is coiled up as a dormant energy, and you need to rise up. That's all. So that's what I do. Yeah, and you don't have to have a guru, but I think it's good to have some type of a guru who can teach you this thing properly. And once he teaches you and you get the feel, then you can feel the energy flowing again. You can feel the peace, the grace. And I think, it overall health and you become alive. I think that is the important thing. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And then moving on, it's 6 more here. Alan, the yogis formulated this over 2,000 years ago. As like mentioned before, medical science is only a few hundred years old. 100 years ago, the most brilliant doctors would have denied much of this presentation, which is being proven so true today. So awesome shout out there. Is it possible, moving into the question, is it possible that we still don't medically know everything, and that there may be other energetic pathway, nadi flows, and pineal gland function that we still don't know about? And in parentheses, Alan put, when I started medical school, the pineal gland was considered to be a useless vestigial calcified structure in humans.
So the pineal gland, a lot of yogis and all that talked a lot about the pineal gland, but the pineal gland only helps the function for the, sleep-wake cycle. As far as we know, that's all. It's not that big a deal, really, pineal gland. But it is the pituitary gland. I think they meant the pituitary gland because that is the very important thing. So pituitary gland is important because pituitary gland is the master gland. It controls all the other endocrine glands. So if they're talking about pituitary gland, that is important. Some of the old yoga schools talked about pineal gland, but I think pituitary gland is important for growth hormone, for metabolic conversion, food, energy, water, osmolarity, water balance, temperature regulation, all these things, reproduction, all of that stuff. And then this is the importance about the pituitary gland. It governs all the vital bodily functions, growth, metabolism, mood, sexual function, reproduction, all of that. So we need to talk about that. I think that is the important things. Now, nadis are not anatomically this thing, but I think that they know that these are energy things, so they know that there is a real correlation and there is some importance that people are giving now this thing. So we need to do this as a complement to modern science. It's not like instead of, you cannot take this instead of doing one. So you need to use this part, this knowledge as a complement to my medical science. In fact, the book that I've written is Synergy of Yoga with Modern Medicine. It is synergy of these holistic tendencies to modern medicine. So that is where you bring the wisdom of the East to modern medicine.
Perfect. Complement. That's a great word. And then Apurva asked, are there any specific procedures to follow prior to the meditation or afterwards? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because see, I have to unwind, and sometimes I will unwind just doing my pranayama. I do some little yoga exercises, some simple yoga exercises, stretching, mobility, flexibility, all that. Then I do my pranayama, and that is my routine. And then I do this. So I do this before I sleep also. So I try to, I do some meditation. Morning I don't do because, all these years I used to go for surgery. I'm a cancer surgeon, so I have to get up, I go for surgery by 7 o'clock. I have to leave home. So I can't do meditation in the morning, but I could do it in the afternoon, especially after during weekends or when I could do some things in the afternoon and then in the night before I sleep, I could do the meditation. And if I did wake up to pee or for whatever reason, if I woke up because of the dog or whatever else, then I do this type of meditation, yes. Either that or some different types of meditation I do. I do mindful meditation and other forms also. Yes.
Awesome. All right. The next one, and only a few more here left, and then we'll wind it down. Nitin Patel thank you for a very informative presentation. I have one question. What time do we practice chakra meditation and how long? I think we kind of touched on this a little bit, but again, I have what time do we practice chakra meditation and how long?
So that depends, what you want to do. I kind of have some mindfulness this thing throughout the day. It's not like I do it only, but generally between in the afternoon when I take a nap for about an hour or so, I do this, my pranayama, some yoga exercises, pranayama, and then it's always yoga, some yoga exercises, for flexibility and mobility and all that. I kind of unwind. Then I do my pranayama, either alternate nostril breathing or holding my breath. I do a lot of things called kumbhak. I hold my breath, that helps also. It appears to be counterintuitive because we always tell people to breathe. But, here, by holding your breath, your body compensates to vital organ because there's not enough of this thing. So it challenges your body. So by holding your breath, it increases your physical and mental strength. So I do that, holding the breath. It's called kumbhak. And the kumbhak means a pot. So basically kumbhak. And then I also do, I do my meditation. It could be mindful meditation or several different types of meditations I have. But I do a lot. Of late, I've been doing more of this chakra meditation. Yes.
Awesome. Again, moving on. Sunil, do you know of online resources for learning chakra meditation and balancing? Do you know any off the top of your head?
I don't recommend that because I don't know. I mean, some people in the online also, they can, in an effort to promote their thing, they might overstate things. I don't know, but I don't do online. I mean, for me, I was blessed by a guru and this thing, but time to time, I do look at it because sometimes my yoga student, so I teach yoga to people who want to become yoga teachers. I'm doing the training the trainer, for the last 6 years. So sometimes they talk about certain things and they bring my attention to something. Some of them are good. I mean, it just depends upon what you got to take.
Perfect.
That is called Vivek. You need to understand which is good and which is not good.
Yeah. And then we got Sunil again. Could you please share contact information of your Reiki guru? So if you have, are you able to share that information or type it in the chat at all?
Not type it in the chat, but yeah, there's some Reiki schools, but this person was from India. I mean, he had come to my home and been, I mean, he's a personal friend, so I don't know what he does anymore. I don't have any.
Very good. And then I will wind it down. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Dr.
No, the person who taught me, his name was Ajit Telang. They can
Ajit Telang.
Google that. Ajit, AJIT, Telang, TELANG. And he is from Maharashtra in India. But he died recently, very recently. But his ashram teaches people to do Reiki now. He's got some followers, some disciples who have taken over what he did. He's one of the foremost Reiki masters in India. Let me put it that way. Okay.
And then winding down here real quick. Sorry, I don't mean to rush. David, just a comment. Thank you for such a great presentation. And then another comment from an anonymous. This is just a comment. A brilliant presentation from you, Dr. Shroff, and also me, I guess. And I appreciate your acknowledging your perspective of yoga as a complement to modern medicine knowledge. I started out as a yoga teacher before I went to med school and looked to modern medicine as a work in progress, which is a complement to the yogic wisdom of the enlightened ancients. So there's a nice little comment, shout out. And then Jigna, thank you so much, Dr. Shroff. This is the last one. It is very informative. What experience people have while doing chakra meditation? So what kind of experiences have you heard of or seen?
Well, it could be nothing or everything, I mean, it doesn't have to be in the terms of, you're not going to see light and this thing and all that, but that vibration and all that, and you feel better. I mean, at the end of the day, when these hormones, it brings down your stress, you can see that it affects your well-being, overall well-being. Let me put it that way, but it doesn't have to be, like I said, it's nothing or everything, Okay.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Shroff. And I will, amazing presentation as usual. We do have some links that you can find on YouTube from past talks that Dr. Shroff has put on. So that is on YouTube. You can just type in his name and then VaYU and he will pop up. I double check that. So it does pop up there for you. Before I let everybody go, just a quick poll. Akil, I don't mind if you pull up just that one last quick poll right there. How helpful was this webinar? Help us make these better. We would like to know. And then also that last question, of course, me being in recruitment, we love to invite people to be students here at VaYU. So would you be interested in an MS PhD at VaYU? So go ahead and answer that if you like. We'll give you about a minute to do that. But in the meantime, Dr. Shroff, thank you so much for the time. Again, you guys will be able to find this on if you subscribe to our YouTube channel on VaYU. you'll be able to watch this over and over again and get all that knowledge that Dr. Nick Shroff shared today. So thank you so much, Dr. Nick Shroff. And we'll just finish off the poll and I will let everybody go from there. So I'll give you guys about 10 more seconds. All right, poll ended there. So thank you so much for answering those questions. You'll probably be seeing some communications from us come out over the next couple days. Thanking you for your time. And again, Dr. Nick Shroff, thank you so much for the time today.
Thank you. I'm glad you all
Absolutely.
did. And
Yes.
yeah, we'll see you another time. Thank you very much.
Yes,
I appreciate
absolutely.
it.
Thank you,
And
sir.
thank you, Rob, for conducting this nicely. Thank you.
Absolutely. Happy to. Anytime.
Thank you. And thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
The VaYU team from India is also there. Okay, good. Great.
Yes, they are. Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
All
Bye-bye.
right, great. Bye-bye.